This is Rob Heppel from funeralfuturist.com. Today I am in Springfield, Illinois at the Museum of Funeral Customs. I'm with Jason Meyers.
That's right.
Jason,
Thank
great
you,
to meet
Rob.
you.
Glad to be here.
Can you just introduce yourself to the viewers and explain a little bit about yourself and the museum?
Sure. I am the curator here. We are a museum that looks at the history of American funeral and mourning customs. We started about 1840 or so when arterial embalming was introduced to the U.S. And we really look at the subject from a social history standpoint. It's very educational. We're not a freak show of a lot of macabre objects just kind of displayed haphazardly. We do look at it educationally at a serious part of our culture that affects everybody.
Well, just going around, we looked at we had the embalming section, and then we went to and we saw the caskets and the coffins, and then more into and looking at your Abraham Lincoln display, and then here we're kind of in the mourning section of how people during that time would actually mourn, and it's just an amazing place. I've learned a ton, and it's brought back a lot of my embalming history that I had to take during my apprenticeship. So give me an idea of the visitors and how many people visit.
We are averaging about 7,500 a year for visitation. It is all demographics. We have the families who are on their summer vacations. Obviously, our busy time is that tourist season, like Memorial Day to Labor Day. And we have funeral directors. We have researchers who are doing work or doing other studies in the history of funeral customs or just death topics in general. And the initial reaction, at least from like the average visitor, the non-funeral person, at first they might not know what to expect. Some are interested, but are not sure. However, we've seen that once they come in here, they're absolutely fascinated. They do learn a lot, and we are one of the only resources that are available for people to learn about death, to learn about this aspect of our culture. And it's something that I think pretty much everybody wants to know about, whether they admit it or not. And there aren't a lot of places where they can go to learn about it. So you're not going to go to your local funeral director and just call them up, hey, how do you embalm me when I die, that sort of thing. So, and we of course look at more than just the technical aspect here. So I think it's been beneficial, and we're really in a transition in American attitudes about death and funerals, and you can see that in popular cultural pieces like 6 Feet Under. That's another common question that we have. Have you seen 6 Feet Under? So,
yeah, we get that question too.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you about what's the response when funeral directors come in, and they're obviously going to look at this a little differently than just the general public.
They are quite pleased. We talk at length with them. A lot of times funeral directors, it's just like in any other profession, lawyers or doctors, most people still don't even know about their own profession's background and their own profession's history. And so I think they're just as thankful to have the opportunity to look at their own profession. And then I think they see the value in this institution again as a means of public education. Because again, there's not a lot out there about death or about funeral customs, and we can kind of be that intermediary between the funeral director and the families that they serve. And I think they recognize that value. In fact, we are founded by the Illinois Funeral Directors Association, and I think that has been one of their goals in the creation of this museum, as that general education.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed is that with the unique thing about funeral services, there's a lot of still family-owned businesses, and it goes back 3, 4, 5 generations, and that's where you've gotten a lot of your items for the museum, and it just shows the richness of our profession. And what really struck me was when we got here towards the end of the tour, tour, and we were looking at the mourning clothing and the mourning customs. And actually, today's general public are asking you, how long should we mourn for? Because funeral customs have changed, and with without going through the big process that we used to, they're kind of left stuck. And I just thought that was just amazing how here they're asking you, how do we mourn?
Exactly. As the 20th century developed, and even going before that, death became a taboo, and people just didn't talk about it. They maybe didn't like to think about it. As medical science advanced, it did not become as prevalent as it was in the Victorians' time, for example. And because of that taboo, people just became uncomfortable dealing with the subject on average. And when they were confronted with those situations, either a loss in their own family or either interacting with someone, a friend or a coworker who had lost someone, they didn't know how to react to them. They didn't know how to sort of publicly kind of let people know that they were grieving and that they had experienced a loss. And at a funeral, they didn't know what to say, and it's all that kind of stuff. And the Victorian mourning etiquette eliminated a lot of that uncomfortableness for Victorians. And even though it seems a little strict from our standards today, it was their way of dealing with sometimes the uncomfortable thought of our own mortality.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it was just more, they were able to, they had those ground rules were there, and we've kind of just lost that.
Yeah, when you saw a lady walking down the street in a black dress with a black veil, you could immediately recognize, okay, this lady is in mourning. And so thinking back on what you knew about the etiquette of the day, they could say, okay, there are some kind of rules here in how I interact with this individual. So.
And now we just pass them by in the street without even knowing. Yeah. Now, just as we wrap up, just maybe a few words about your website, because not everyone's going to get here to Springfield, but...
Sure. Our website is simply www.funeralmuseum.org, and we do have a small virtual tour on there so they can see, viewers can see part of the gallery and some of our kind of highlight items of the large objects like the hearses. And on there are ways you can book a group tour, you can donate to the museum, our gift shop is on the website, and we have a lot of interesting items as well as like scholarly publications and videos that look at a lot of the subjects that we deal with here. And then of course our popular chocolate coffins.
Okay. Now, just as proximity, just let everyone know, here we are, but what's right next door?
Yeah, we are right next door to Oak Ridge Cemetery, which most people may not have heard of, but they've heard of Lincoln's tomb, whereas that's the cemetery that the tomb is constructed in. And so we are on that well-traveled tourist path out to Lincoln's tomb in the cemetery, and it makes it's a nice opportunity to visit both the tomb and then right next door the museum, where we also have a display on Lincoln's national funeral back in 1865. So you can look at the components of his national funeral, which was the first state-run public funeral in the United States. And then once you see those components, then you can even walk right next door to the tomb where he has been.
Great. Well, Jason, thanks for sharing.
Great.
And
Glad to do it.
you're watching funeralgurus.com. Thank you.
Thank you.